Hello, Mr. Bamis.
Oh, and hello, Stevie. Happy days are here again, for we are
Yes,
once more unto the breach of
to the
Picard.
breach.
Unto the breach.
Oh, we're such nerds.
Yeah, well, listen, hey, we're classy. We have classical educations. Between us, we have one classical education, I think.
We
Let's see.
define classical education like Latin.
Yeah, we got like a little Latin, a little Arabic, some Shakespeare quotes, vague mathematics, technical specifications, musicality. We're
Yeah.
one we are like I don't know, how would you define a Renaissance, like in parts of Leonardo da Vinci. I think we're approaching the higher end of like on a Da Vinci scale of 1 to 10. Together we're probably like
We're
an
like a
8.5.
Renaissance person. Together, we can
Yes,
get to like a number 8, maybe.
I would go to 8. I would say at least 8 in terms of Renaissance. I can't
Mm-hmm.
draw or paint or anything cool like that. Can you?
A little, yeah.
Great. That's all we need.
Bit arty.
Yeah,
You can.
you're arty.
You're the more musical of the two of us.
I can
We
do a
both,
little poetry.
yeah, we've got the Shakespeare background, the literature. I speak a bit of Italian these days.
Oh, buonasera. That's all I know how to say.
Um, possiamo, I don't know. Un
Uh-oh.
bicchiere di acqua, per favore.
You'd like something of water, please?
Yes, I would. I would like a glass of water, please.
A glass of water, please.
Un bicchiere.
Un bicchiere. Wow. Okay. This is a new way to start our show.
Yeah.
Tutorial in Romance languages. Well,
I'm going to Italy in September, so I'm learning on Duolingo.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Fun fact. You can learn Klingon on Duolingo.
And I might.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think about it every day. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the show. This is Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast. Today's stardate is stardate 236326.3. And we're discussing Picard, season 3, episode 6, The Bounty. A crazy episode. Pretty wild. I mean, they're only going to get wilder and wilder and wilder, basically.
I should hope so.
Yeah. They started out pretty smooth. They had a lot of good, fun hijinks. This one had hijinks, adventure, plot moves forward, some very funny moments, some very sweet moments. I definitely welled up once or twice watching this episode.
I enjoyed the awkward hugs.
Oh, the hugs were amazing. I love an awkward hug. I mean, it's the only hug I'm really good at, so I love an awkward hug. And I have to imagine actors, they probably hug not awkward all the time, so it's truly a feat to be, when you see them. I've watched a few clips of the Ready Room, and I've seen how they're like just so like oh huggy, touchy, so easy physical what do you call it? Physical, what do you call it?
Actions.
Yeah, physical, there's a word I'm looking for. It's emotion or something. I don't know. They're able to display their emotions physically pretty easily. So to be awkward is got to be pretty exciting. Anyway, before we get into all that, we got to do a little bit of business and pay those light bills.
Absolutely. Do you want to be a patron of ours? Do you want to join us and be bold and go where no Star Trek fan has gone before? Then join us on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/setphasers. You can join us for watch parties. We're going to be doing an old school 3, 2, 1, go hit play style watch party today. So you're possibly a little bit late for that. But if you wanted to join us for another watch party, we would welcome you with open arms, as we would for our Zoom hangs that we do. You get early access to all of our episodes. You get to watch our episodes as they happen. That's an exclusive for our patrons. So do join us at patreon.com/setphasers now.
2 things to say about that. 1, you get to watch live, which means you get to see all the crazy things we get into. And 2, we said open arms, and all I could think of was, and now I come to you with arms. Great. I'm glad that
See what I say.
I didn't know if that translated across the pond.
Yeah.
Is that a big hit there too? Yeah.
To be fair, at the time I wasn't living in the UK, but I think Celine's she's international.
You're right. What was I even thinking?
And that was around the time the Titanic theme came out, so I would think so. I think that's fair.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, and that was what was the one with the the guy in the motorbike? And it's all coming back to me now. Yes, that one.
All coming back to me now.
Oh.
Should we get to run it down?
Probably. Let's do that instead.
It's time to run it down.
Can you run it down for me? Talk about Picard now. Run it down for me. Yeah. Jean-Luc Picard. Listen, you know the Titans on the run. They've been on the run now, not only from the Federation, but also from, as we discover in this opening, Vadic is still alive. The Shrike still exists, and they've been chasing the Titan. But the Titan's been dropping decoy transponders, which everyone keeps flocking to. So they've been staying ahead of both of their pursuers. But we get to see that Vadic is still alive and is extremely frustrated and is yelling at her crew and makes mention of their changeling brothers and sisters who have to keep their faces on until the day that they succeed in taking down the Federation. And also a weird moment where, it's mentioned that the Frontier Day is only 72 hours away. So something big is supposed to happen on Frontier Day when all the ships are together. And actually, there is a moment where the helm officer tries to sort of like mutiny on Vadic, and Vadic just turns to one of her assistants and has that person vaporized. So Vadic is on the hunt and says, "We'll stop at nothing now to find Picard, and we will destroy his life." Very Khan-esque monologuing, literally chewing her cigar and marching around her smoky, darkened bridge. Meanwhile, we found out maybe the source of Jack's weird visions, irritability, and aggressiveness. He has been diagnosed by his mom with Irumodic syndrome, which is something he inherited from Jean-Luc Picard. Oh, just saying that reminded me that I've always wanted, I feel like I always thought that Q called Jean-Luc Picard Picard, but I guess he always calls him Jean-Luc. But Vadic does call him Picard, which I find very
I knew you were going to enjoy that. I was going to bring that up today, but you got there.
Find me Picard. Okay, so yes, Jack has a Irumodic syndrome. Picard goes to talk to him at the 10 Forward Avenue holodeck program. They have a little drink. Jack is sort of wallowing, and he says, "Oh, I could just be broken, or I could be like those Japanese teacups." I don't know if people know about that thing, but when there's like I don't know how often or frequent it is, but I recently almost read an article about how when these beautiful Japanese teacups break, when they put them back together, instead of using glue, they use gold. So they put back together all their cracks. Yes.
I wished I knew that because last year, my wife broke her Japanese teapot.
Oh.
I think, to be fair, it smashed into more pieces than just a couple of bits that you could do that with. But
you'd need a lot.
I wish I knew. You'd need a lot. Yeah.
You sitting on a lot of gold over there? You got a lot of gold in your basement or something?
No. Nothing. I'm gold out.
All gold out. Okay, so yes, they have that conversation. Jack's sort of like, "Hey, I got many decades yet to live, and who knows what's going to happen with my mind." He storms off. Picard finishes up his drink, and then Seven calls to say that they have arrived. Who is they? Air quotes. Why, none other than Worf and Raffi Musiker, who beam in. Remember, we saw them at the end of the last episode. Worf says it's been 11 years, 5 months, and 4 days since last he and Picard were together. It's good to see everybody, including Riker, who doesn't really understand this new pacifist Worf, but is still glad to see him. A little bit of an issue when Worf refers to the Chateau Picard bottle that Picard sends him every year as a tart like ale or something. He's like, it's quite tart. I guess it's got nothing on blood wine. Meanwhile, they go into a meeting. Shaw is present at that meeting in the like meeting room, and Worf explains the whole thing with the changelings and the things that we know from the last episode. They've infiltrated Starfleet, and they stole the what I call the worm anus technology from Daystrom, but that was a cover up to show what they truly had stolen, which no one knows. And they have to go to the Daystrom Institute station, which is different than the Daystrom Institute, which is on Earth. Daystrom stations where apparently they keep all the weird, strange, curious weaponry and other weird things when we get there.
So what we saw, when Vadic was kind of, flying around in the Shrike, and we saw a flash of the Daystrom Institute. What did we see exactly? If there's the Daystrom Institute station, I'm all confused about where things are with regard to Daystrom.
I don't know that there was always a Daystrom station, but I'm guessing because Daystrom Institute is on Earth, it just wouldn't make sense for them to have been able to infiltrate Daystrom Institute, and that's where there's like a lot of scientists. But this Daystrom station is like just a floating space station with a lot of terrifying technology on it.
Okay, so what Vadic had was the weapon from
the station.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why it said Daystrom Institute on it.
Yeah, because maybe it was developed at Daystrom Institute, but it's held at the station.
Okay.
That's my theory.
Thank you. I just wanted to clear up because there's like 3 locations, and I'm like, where is this one thing that's going in 3 different places? Where's the thing?
I mean, it's just more fun when you have to have hijinks and breaking into things to have a cool space station that's all creepy and dark, like Alien or something. So they have to go to Daystrom Station. They have a key that they got from the Vulcan warlord / gangster Kryn, and Picard asks for volunteers, and the volunteers are Worf, Raffi, and Riker, who are going to go down to Daystrom Station. So Titan warps in, beams them down, is able to get past the like transport inhibitor technology again, maybe with something that Ro had, and they get there and they're able to put the key in before the system takes them down or notifies anyone. But once they're on, 2 ships from the Federation do beam in, and it is Sidney LaForge who's at the helm of the Titan, who recognizes that these are Echelon class ships, so they can't fight because they have traceable payloads. So if the Titan were to get hit, it would be so much easier to track. So the key only works for 1 hour. Titan has to run away. They say they'll be back in an hour. Picard says he has a great idea. Meanwhile, Riker, Worf, and Raffi are exploring Daystrom Station. They see a lot of crazy, interesting things, which I assume will be in Easter eggs, because I only noticed like 1 or 2, but I bet there's like 3 or 4 if I looked very closely. Riker and Worf, Riker tries to tease Worf, and Worf is unamused because he's seriously, a pacifist now. There's a holographic crow, and then my goose flesh bumped out on my arms as I saw it, for I knew this would be the moment we have spoken of since episode 1. There's music. I guess Riker has perfect pitch because he's like, F sharp. And then
I'm pretty positive his pitch was completely off.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't check it, and I don't have perfect pitch. So, but why would they be off? You think they would make sure that they were correct?
Well, I think maybe I don't know. I just felt there was a difference between like the footage versus the way he did it. I was like, oh, they're different pitches.
It was weird. He was like F sharp, A and C sharp.
Wow.
Still playing that trombone, I guess. So the lights go out, and as they make their way through the ship, they are confronted by a man in sort of a period dress with a top hat and a pistol, and it's none other than Professor Moriarty, who holds a gun on them and calls them old friends or something like that. Meanwhile, the Titan heads to the Fleet Museum on encircling Athen Prime. They go to hide their ship among the relics, thinking this is a good place to hide, and they are hailed by the leader of the Fleet Museum, the person who directs it, none other than Commodore Geordi LaForge, with his new silver fox look. And LaForge is like, you gotta to turn off all your systems, and he beams aboard with his daughter Alondra, played by I'm pretty sure his actual daughter,
Micah Burton.
yeah, Michael Burton, who I know from a bunch of
Micah.
no, Micah. I know Michael Burton,
Sorry,
who I know.
because obviously Michael for a girl is not unusual now in Star Trek.
Hell no, it's not unusual, but I do know Micah Burton because she does a bunch of D&D stuff and cosplay, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway.
I think she hosted something for Star Trek Day a few years ago.
Yes.
So she shouldn't.
Wasn't she on like the red carpet? Red carpet. Wasn't she like doing like cutaways with somebody? Can't remember.
I can't remember. She was interviewing somebody as part of like it wasn't the Ready Room, I don't think. She was certainly interviewing people.
Yeah, it was Star Trek Day, but it wasn't Ready Room. It was like.
Yeah, it was during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And she was interviewing folk. I forget quite why, but yes.
Yes. Well, it was nice to see Micah Burton playing her actual father's daughter and sister to Sydney. Apparently, Alondra seems to be more in the Geordi engineering brain kind of type, and so is hanging out there on the ship. Anyway, so Geordi comes along. The awkward hugs that we mentioned earlier occur as Geordi is sort of confused as to whether he should shake his hand or whatever, because obviously Geordi and Alondra know that Picard is like public enemy number one. And then LaForge says, Picard, we got to talk, and they walk off, and then Jack and Sydney bond over the air quotes warm greetings that they have had with their father, something they have in common. Oh, we got something in common. It's not a song, but seems like the right vibe. Geordi and Picard talk, and basically Picard is trying to sell Geordi on coming along on this adventure, helping them disguise their transponder, yada yada yada. And Geordi is like, he won't do it because he wants to protect his family, and so he resists Picard's plan. He's like, when we were young and I ran into danger with you, it didn't matter to me, but now I have my family and I can't help. And also, I can't make a transponder signal for you because all the new Starfleet ships are fully integrated, meaning that they can talk to each other over distance. So the Titan, not being so, is a beacon, which then leads to Picard to realize, oh, that's how they've been able to track us when we showed up at Daystrom Station, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, on Daystrom Station, the two ships that showed up, the USS Sternbach and the Cole, they have security officers doing a sweep of the station looking for the intruders that might be down there. The team pinned down by Moriarty, who's shooting at them and saying, oblique things to them, and the music is still playing, and then Riker recognizes the music after putting it together with his perfect pitch. He's like, oh yes, this is a song I once taught Data when I first arrived on the Enterprise and got into the holodeck, and Data was sitting in a tree, something that was mentioned at Data's funeral in the final Star Trek
Farpoint Part 1.
Yes, it was. That happened at Counter Farpoint, and they threw back that foot. I always love they throw back to young Riker footage, and he's got that dimpled chin, and he's so martial arts master Riker. Anyway, he had taught Geordi "Pop Goes the Weasel," and so that's the melody.
He taught Data. You said Geordi.
I'm sorry, did I say Geordi? He taught Data "Pop Goes the Weasel." He sings the end of that. Moriarty recognizes it, calls it marvelous. Yes, that's how we started our session together. Stevie's been whistling that and won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Pop goes the weasel.
I feel like can't stop, won't stop is like the pop for what are those crispy things, the chips? Pringles.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Exactly. And it's because do you get it? Because it's pop goes the weasel. See how that all links together.
Yeah, no, that's wordplay.
Yes.
So they go past, they get granted access to a special location, and they discover a new android thing. It's Data, but he's old, and he is the station's security AI. Dun dun dun. So you don't have to play it. That was my little thing there. Geordi, meanwhile, on the Titan, continues to refuse Picard. Meanwhile, Jack and Seven had a little moment because they're in this ship museum and they're looking at all these ships, and Jack recognizes the Kirk's Enterprise and the Defiant, which is the ship that was used in the Dominion Wars in Deep Space Nine, and also Voyager, which causes Seven to, and they play the theme so beautiful. Da 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 da. That I won't go into a weird story about how I used to sing pie on that because we used to eat pie, me and my friends, when we watched Voyager, did Voyager rewatches. Pie, 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 because we were always getting new slices of pie. Okay, so anyway, yes, and also a Klingon bird of prey from Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, I do believe. Yes, that was found at the bottom of San Francisco Bay. Anyway, that gives Jack some thoughtful ideas. Meanwhile, on Daystrom, the team realizes that this new data is a combo. It's like a lot of, they get a message from Alton Inigo Sung, the Sung from season 1 of Star Trek Picard, saying that when Picard took my golem, I thought I was going to live forever, but then I realized it's not about living forever. It's about addition. It's about being more. And so he had been working until his death on a new data, which is a combo of a lot of data, B4, lore, all inside of one mind. And he was trying to integrate them, but they didn't integrate. So it is realized there that Data is not the security AI. He is the manifest. He has watched all that has happened on the ship, and so he would know who came, who took what, and how. So they're like, we got to get Data out of here. Meanwhile, Sydney confronts her father on the Titans, and she's like, why won't you help us? And he's like, family. And she's like, you tell me that a ship's crew is family. I learned that from you. And she storms out, and then Jack and Alondra and Sydney are standing outside the doors, and Jack's like, oh yeah, well, that's too bad that your dad won't help us. How would you feel about doing a little bit of, quote, minor larceny to help the ship? And the LaForge siblings seem down. There is a moment where Geordi's about to leave a little bit later, and we get a delightful scene. I gotta say, once again, the broadness of Shaw's character really shines through in these episodes. He really started as a taciturn, complete asshat. Then you find out he's a grease monkey from Chicago or something like that. Anyway, he's a complete fanboy of Geordi, and does such a great job of doing that. I had to watch it twice. It was so good when Geordi compliments his ship. Anyway, that was a very fun moment. But as they're having that moment and Geordi's about to leave, the Titan experiences a bunch of electromagnetic bursts as part of the ship go in and out of the visual spectrum. And Geordi and Picard realize that their kids have perhaps stolen the cloaking device from the Klingon warbird. And so now the ship is warped, and the alarms have been set off, and now people are going to be coming after the Titan. So Picard is able to impress upon Geordi the need to help, and so Geordi's like, "Fine, I'll go to engineering," and he goes into engineering as Sydney and Jack are trying desperately to get this cloaking device to integrate with the ship and doing a terrible job. And Geordi says, "I'll do it. I know how to do it." But then he tells Jack to stay away from my daughter, which is a guarantee that they won't stay away from each other. I mean, everyone knows that. You'd think. Team on Daystrom manages to free the android. The Titan gets their cloak up. They warp back to Daystrom Institute. They cloak. The teams from the Sternbach and the Cole have converged upon the lab door that the team is in. Titan contacts the crew. They're like, we can get you out in a couple minutes. We have to uncloak in order to do that. Riker's like, I'm going to hold them off. He takes a phaser and he takes on the teams that are breaching the doors, giving enough time for the rest of the team, that is Worf, Raffi, and air quotes here, Data, new Data, or as I like to call him, old Data, because he looks old and nice, to beam out. However, Riker is captured because he's shot in the back with a transport inhibitor, so he's unable to get out. Meanwhile, on the Titan, they arrive. Geordi and Worf have their reunion, and then Geordi sees Data And I wrote here in parentheses, Aki cries. Geordi is able to bring Data around, but he is also talking to Sydney about how he's like, actually, I'm proud of you. You understood something that I wasn't able to grasp. So there's a nice little father-daughter understanding there. And Picard and Beverly and everyone comes in to see Data awaken. And Data comes around, but he's still an unintegrated personality. So there's all these persons. So he goes through like Data and maybe B4, I think, at one point. And then definitely he does the little sneer that is lore. But they ask him, hey, what did Vadic and them take from Daystrom that wasn't the anus technology? And he gets stuck in a loop saying, Picard, 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 Picard. But then they eventually find out by looking at the manifest that it is Picard that they stole. Picard's organic body remains. What are they going to do with that? I wonder, these changeling shapeshifters. And then finally, we see Riker getting beat up at the Daystrom, and they're trying to get the information. Where's Picard? And he's like, I'll never tell you. He's got his cool quips, and he's like, how much goo do they pour into you, you loser? And then the interrogators brings out their pew-pew, and instead of firing on Riker, they pew-pew the other officers in the room, and then shift to become a gleeful Vadic. I did the inhale thing.
You did. Good
Vadic,
job.
Thank you. I've been working on it. Vadic brings Riker to the Shrike, to the holding cells, and Riker's keeping up his good old boy, like, what are you going to do, torture me here? You think after 35 years of service, you're going to turn me? I'm William Riker. And then the Vadic's like, oh, no, we won't torture you. And then they open a cell, and it is revealed they have held prisoner none other than Deanna Troi, who, upon seeing Riker, says, oh, Will. And here endeth Episode 6, Season 3, the Star Trek Picard. Let's chat about that.
I say, darling, let's do a quick chat about that.
Let's do.
Wow, what an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, my final thought was, do you think that was really Deanna, or do you think that was a changeling?
I don't know. I mean, my thought just as the episode ended was that if it's really Deanna, she'll be able to communicate telepathically with Will. And if it's a changeling, probably not.
She can't communicate with him.
Yes, she can.
Can she?
I think even in season 1, they because they had previous history, she had taught him how to.
Oh, yes.
Talk. Yeah. So they were able to
speak.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in how that goes. But also Deanna saying, oh, Will, makes me feel like I think there'll be some fun breakout shenanigans with Deanna and Riker. I hope. I was really worried that Riker was that we'd be doing Faith of the Heart for Riker. Since he got left behind. I was like, they wouldn't, but maybe they would.
It was getting a good smack for a gentleman who's in his 60s.
Yes. Well, he's a tough old guy, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out if that's. But I was gonna say, oh yeah, Vadic. Remember in the beginning, she's like, well, if we can't find Picard, then we'll find everyone he's ever known, and we'll sweep the rug out from under him that way. So it's possible that they went and stole Deanna somehow in order to have leverage apart. Because now they say we have not only Riker but Deanna Troi. Maybe Picard is like, I got to do what I got to do. I don't know. Data. New old Data.
Before lore Data. Why?
Well, I mean, Alton Sung says it's not about preservation, is about addition, and thinking that this will create a sense of experience and sort of a living mind for Data. And I do think they it's weird how they are like, oh, he's got separate minds, he's like a human or whatever when he's coming around. I don't know how that's going to all integrate. I mean, one hopes it will integrate into a sentient, feeling, talking, walking, thoughtful Data. We'll see. I don't know. It's the reunions where this was a big reunions episode. Worf, the Forge, Data. I mean, we basically got the whole team together at this point, right? Is anyone missing?
I don't think so. I was trying to think about that. But I think more Deanna, I guess, was not really.
Deanna hasn't had the big reunion. That's right. Yeah. Okay, well, so more tension, but hopefully they'll soon all be together on the bridge with their kids and stuff, and they'll save the universe with their kids. This is a big kids episode. Big, mostly fathers and their children misunderstandings and resolutions episode. Jack eventually goes to Picard and say, even though I got all this cool stuff from my mom and this disease from you, I also got some good stuff from you. And Sydney is like, all those times that I broke all those speeders so that I could hang out with you while you fix them. And Geordi's like, I'm really proud of you. I was trying to protect you in a way that was unnatural. And I see that you've become a real Starfleet officer. There's a lot of beautiful emotion with parents. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Were you surprised, though, that Geordi has become so risk averse?
No, I'm not. Geordi has like a nice big family, and he's I think it makes sense that he's like, well, now I have these children whom I love, and I don't want to see them go into the maw of death like everyone else did. It made sense to me. I mean, he came around, but it seems like maybe for the last 20 years he's been like, what, I want to keep people protected, and we don't need to always be facing a huge existential crisis. Like he says to Picard, it's always life and death. It's always the universe or the galaxies on the line. Like, let me protect my kids. And also when they decide to join up, he tells his Alondra to contact her mom and tell them that they won't be home for dinner. So I think he's become a very sort of like, domesticated. And, Geordi was always looking for love.
Never very successfully. He said to Picard, and he was like, trust you to like create an intergalactic something or other.
Oh, yeah.
Is that in your quotable moments?
It is not in my quotable moments. It's not. But yeah, he's like, it's like your father and son stuff, and he's like, leave it to you to, I forget what the context of that was. Oh, but yeah.
And one more, Commodore versus Admiral.
Yeah.
Which higher?
I think Admiral is higher. I think Commodore is a kind of a sidestep away from like the sort of chain of command.
Okay.
Like,
good to know.
But I'm not sure though. I think Admiral is the highest you can go in the U.S. Navy. I don't know where Commodore really fits in because that's kind of a archaic term. Yeah.
I can't recall coming across a Commodore in Star Trek history.
Yeah. It could be that a Commodore has like, certain sorts of power, but is not like in active service or military service or something to that effect. I don't know. Who can say? Well, hello and welcome back to the Set Phasers Desk. We go immediately to Easter eggs. Stevie, hello, how's it going out there?
Well, hi there, Rocky. It is good. We are out here in space, of course, on the set of Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 6, The Bounty. And we have a plethora of Easter eggs for you. This was just an episode. It kind of went beyond Easter eggs. Like, it was more than just things in the background. There were things that were thrown right in front of you. We had Moriarty, we had the Crow with Data, we had footage, throwing back to Encounter at Farpoint. And obviously, the name of the episode telegraphs out the biggest Easter egg, which reveals the plot of the episode. The Klingon bird of prey known as the HMS Bounty. Why was it called the HMS Bounty? Because HMS is Her Majesty's ship. And and it's a Klingon ship. I don't get it. But yes. But anyway, so to me, this whole episode sort of transcends the concept of fan service as, it typically exists as tactile things in the Trek universe as far as Easter eggs go. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it. Let's see. So obviously we had HMS Bounty, originally featured in The Search for Spock and The Voyage Home. Of course, when Kirk and the crew stole this bird of prey in The Search for Spock, it wasn't yet called the Bounty, Bones gave it that name in the voyage home as a result of a fine sense of historical irony. In real life in 1789, people did organize a shipboard mutiny against William Bligh on a ship called the Bounty.
Oh, maybe that HMS is that historical irony.
There you go. That's probably what it is then. In fact, I should have known that because I wrote these out. I wrote these out from lots of research that I do.
As I said, together we are one Renaissance person.
Yes, on the internet. Oops. Where was I? Jack's Captain Kirk fandom. So we actually have two fanboys in this episode, Captain Shaw and Jack for Captain Kirk, which is quite funny if you think about it, because growing up, us TNG fans were obviously thinking that Picard was the best captain, and yet our parents were like, well, Kirk was the best captain. So I think it's quite the irony that Jack Crusher, Picard's son, thinks that Kirk was the best captain is not lost on me.
Right. I agree with that. Yes. Also, Jack's got some Kirk in him. He's very slouching in the captain's chair.
Yes, 100%. So that was quite fun. Okay, Kirk's body on the Daystrom Station. Mm-hmm. So when Riker and Worf enter the Hall of it's literally a Hall of Easter eggs.
It is a Hall of Easter eggs, yes. Yeah.
Including another version of the Genesis device and a genetically modified attack tribble. That was quite a moment. I did enjoy that.
That was very weird to me. I was like, ah, yes.
We do get a shot of Kirk's remains, which actually I missed. So I need to go back and watch that again. Mm-hmm. Did you see it?
Glance. I think I was too much of like everything that we were seeing, and the Genesis device was like kind of a big one for me because I was like, oh, I recognize the Genesis device. But I didn't see, yes, we see his remains, but I didn't really see them. Yeah.
Now this means that Section 31 literally dug up Kirk's dead body on Viridian 3 after Picard buried him there at the end of Star Trek Generations. Mm-hmm. That's what it must mean.
It must, yeah.
Which is creepy, but also symbolically relevant to the story of the Next Generation crew. Kirk's body and what was left of the Enterprise D were both left on Viridian 3, which in 1994 signified the end of two eras, original cast, and also the original cast was no longer part of Star Trek in the mainstream, but also the heyday of TNG was over because the Enterprise D was over.
Yes.
So they're being very clever. Either that, or we're reading too much into this. Now, obviously the big there was this. So we had the Easter eggs in Daystrom Station, and then we had the Easter eggs of all the ships that Seven went through. So we had the Enterprise A, the Voyager, the Defiant, and the USS New Jersey.
Yes, the USS New Jersey.
The last time I know, I have we seen that before?
We probably have. I didn't Google it. It could be anything. Wait.
It could be. There must be some sort of significance.
Yeah, I'm not picking it up, but I'm sure people are screaming at their phones right now, telling us where it's from.
Of course, no doubt. I mean, I didn't pick up on it, but obviously the Enterprise A. So the last time we saw the Enterprise A was the undiscovered country after the ship has just taken a pounding from aforementioned bird of prey that could fire while cloaked. Fans are probably now aware that obviously Christopher Plummer played Chang in that movie, and Amanda Plummer is playing Vadic in Picard. But the Easter egg of Enterprise A at the Fleet Museum cuts deeper than that. Unlike so many Enterprises, that is the one that survived.
Indeed.
So there you go. And the bulk of its hull is still intact, enough to be on display at the Fleet Museum, giving the universe an idealized notion of that specific era of the 23rd century.
Jack says, look at those retro lines. Oh, baby.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Then that's the New Jersey was like super old school, and like it just looked like, I mean, clearly even like the way that it was shown was just like, okay, this is just like the original Star Trek, Kirk's. Okay, so Data. Obviously, Riker waxes poetic about the Easter eggs relating to Data on the Daystrom Station. The tune that he shared decades ago with a dear friend, one who dreamt of who's aspired to thwart Moriarty, and somebody who couldn't whistle worth a damn. So, yeah, and obviously the retro footage, the actual footage, and I was like, oh, it was super cleaned up. Like they've
Oh,
obviously
they
done
must have digitally transferred it or whatever. Yeah.
smoothly, which I love. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if all of the next generation on, and I just hadn't even thought about it. I was like, I wonder if they're all the cleaned up versions on Paramount that you can just go and watch, and we'll find out later tonight.
Indeed.
But yes, so during this trip down memory lane, the purpose of Data's journey is made clear. Holmes couldn't die because the public demanded he be brought back, and this is in real life. Arthur Conan Doyle had to bring him back and created this ridiculous, brought back from life thing.
Yes.
And Data's journey clearly wasn't over until he became properly human either.
Wowie, 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 wow.
Look at that.
Look at that.
And that's all Easter eggs I have for you, Aki, and it's back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Stevie and Lightning, as always, and we go immediately now to quotable moments.
Quotable moments. I have tons. What have you got?
You've got tons? Well,
yes.
Okay, let's see. Obviously, I'll just go in order as I wrote them down. Vadic, we will scorch the earth on which he stands, and the night will brighten with the ashes of the Federation. I love a super verbal, vengeful villain. And let's see. Oh, yes. When Riker and Worf meet and they're about to go down to the station, Worf says, Captain Riker, you should know that I now prefer pacifism to actual combat. Energize. And as they're energizing, Riker says, we're all going to die. He's like so sad that Worf doesn't want to fight anymore. And then if I'll just keep going, then you can add this, my last one. Worf, after Riker has been taken, he says to Picard, I will find him, Admiral. I will bring William Riker home, and fearful be the god or man or beast that stands in my way. So that's nice.
Yes. Very Greek.
So Greek. I guess. Yes. Very heroic. Yes. Mm-hmm. I vow. What do you got?
I've got, I think, my absolute favorite, so I'm going to start with this. Worf, I have gone into battle with lovers countless times. It can be therapeutic. 7, I'm not going. And Worf, oh, that's a relief. I was practicing deceit. Breakups on my homeworld seldom end without bloodshed.
Yes, that was a classic one. Classic.
So good. Worf, tread lightly. We will not be prey. We will be friendly energy. Mm-hmm. And Riker, I don't understand the world anymore.
That was very good.
Oh, let's see. Raffi, Jean-Luc, you're never going to believe this, but this Klingon, he's been meditating. And Worf goes, the most advantageous battle stance is being one with oneself.
Beautiful. I love that.
Then Riker's like, whoa, seriously?
Yeah.
And Worf's like, I just said it. Just their little barbs between each other. Yes. And then when they're walking through Daystrom Institute, and he laughs when Worf gets a bit of a fright from the Tribble. And he says, he makes a comment, and he said, what happened to you? You used to poke back.
Riker lost his good friend. He always picked Worf for those away missions because he liked him. Yeah.
Yes. But what was it Worf said? He said something like, and I see you haven't changed. You still find humor in others, discomfort and comfort in others, something.
Yes. Humor in others something like that. Humor in others, discomfort and
comfort in
something before that. It was like you still find something in it and humor in others, discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it was. Poetic turn of phrase. But then after Riker's been taken, Worf is like, all bets are off. Fearful be the god or man or beast.
Maybe, I think, come the end of the series, they'll return to their barbs.
Back to fighting changelings or something. Yeah, obviously Worf still fights. He threw down to save Raffi. Chop that guy's head off. He just likes to meditate and drink chamomile tea now.
Yes, with sugar and milk, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Do take milk. No.
Milk. Yeah.
I do not suck on the teats of goats for my tea.
Excuse me?
I don't know. I was just saying I don't take goat milk with my tea. I don't know. I was just being silly.
Okay. Oh, I thought maybe that was from. Okay, you were just being
No,
silly.
I was just doing a bit. I wasn't quoting anything.
It was very confusing for me. You went into it with such strength and conviction. I thought I had missed something in that episode.
You've got to do that, and I think that's often how I win arguments. Is just strength and conviction.
And people go, "Yeah, okay, yeah, sure."
And the British accent works.
Well, the British accent. Trump in America, it trumps everything. You're an expert.
Yep, I am. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Is it time for
I
next?
think it's time to move on to next time.
Woohoo! Oh, what did I do last time? I had the TNG bed, didn't I?
You did. You had the weird cut from the internet.
I could probably find it again. I know I've put it somewhere. Ooh, do.
Pop goes the weasel. Round and round the mulberry bush, the bunky chased the weasel. Pop goes the weasel. And it's just, be ever ready for a knockdown blow.
We're ever ready for a knockdown blow. I don't know. I'll have to do it in post. Do it in post.
Do it. It's in post.
On set phasers.
No, you know what? No, I want it. I 100% want it. We're going to find it.
All right, hey man. You know,
TNG and found it.
It's quite loud, but yes, you found it.
Sorry, let
Found
me
the hell out of it.
Right, you ready for this?
I think so.
Okay.
Next time on Set Phasers.
Yes, next time on Set Phasers, we'll talk about episode 7 of season 3 of Star Trek Picard, entitled, get this, Dominion. So,
Dominion.
Figure out what's going on with these changelings. If you have enjoyed this episode of Set Phasers, you can find all of our back episodes wherever you get your podcasts. We've covered all the episodes of Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Lower Decks, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the season from last year. And what a thing that is. So if you want to catch up, you can catch up with us. And then you can be up to date, and you can catch us wherever we drop episodes every Monday, as long as I am in my right mind between Thursday and Sunday, and you can get those wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also you could what do you do the thing you not rate? You can leave a review, a comment, review. I don't know what it's called.
Sure, or share with a friend if you
share with a friend. That's all we want. Just
That's
your
it.
Star Trek friend be like, hey, have you checked out this podcast? Pretty sweet.
It's fun. And of course, if you want to join us on our mission and go with us where nerds go, then join us on patreon.com/setphasers for Zoom hangs, watch parties, exclusives, behind the scenes, and more at patreon.com/setphasers.
Yes, indeed. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook with Set Phasers Podcast, Meme Game Strong. So strong, in fact, that people are stealing from us without giving us credit. And by us, I mean Stevie.
Yeah. I know. I called them out on it, and they actually finally tagged me. So,
that's nice.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. All right.
And I was like, you stole it from me. It came from our page.
Yeah, 100%. Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's it from us. Until next time, I am Stevie Manns.
And I, too, have a knack for poetic drive-by observations. And this has been Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Computer! End program. I'll get there.